Hello everyone, my name is Tan. This is Artemis Oracle. I hope everybody's having a good day wherever they are. I'm just gonna see what I'm gonna do. I might answer yes or no questions, but it depends if anybody shows up or not. So let me see what comes out with. I'm gonna do a timing reading just to see if there's anything you need to know, any time-sensitive messages you need to know. Let me see what time-sensitive messages the collective needs to know at this time. What's time message? Let's see. Okay, let's do something. Okay. Let's see what messages the collective need to know. What time-sensitive message does the collective need to know? We got sometime in the future showing up. August. We have August showing up. So that's Leo and Virgo season. Any other time periods the collective needs? And next fall, which will be in September and October. So September, I believe, is when fall starts. And then we have the next full moon, which is on May 31st. So let's see. So sometime in the future. Let's see what that could be about. Let me get. Hi, Peter. How are you? Let's see what comes out for sometime in the future. Oops. I saw a card that doesn't belong in here. Put that away. So sometime in the future, August and next fall. So I want to clarify what is coming up in the future, sometime in the future. Well, it's interesting because we have this sometime in the future, then we have August and next fall. So sometime in the future could be August or next fall, which is August, September, October. Okay. I finished work. I hope you have a good day, Peter. So sometime in the future, Okay, so we have a King of Cups showing up for sometime in the future. It's a water sign energy. So why is the King of Cups showing up for sometime in the future? I'm going to read these cards as one thing. So sometime in the future, so because in the future, meaning August or next fall. So let's see. I'm going to use that significant time frames. And also I did mention the next full moon, which will be on May 31st. Thank you. You too, Peter. What else? Why is the King of Cups here? So I need to know in what capacity this is. Okay, Page of Cups. That's interesting. Two of Cups. Nine of Pentacles, the bottom. So the King of Cups is any water sign energy, so it's a Page of Cups. And then we have the Two of Cups showing up. So it has to do with some sort of partnership. It could be a friendship, it could be a romantic relationship, a platonic relationship, it could be a business partnership. It could be even, yeah, those things. Okay, so I want to know who is the King of Cups. Okay. So there could be somebody who's feeling, because I got, when I'm asked what the King of Cups is or who the King of Cups is, I got the Queen of Pentacles with the Four of Swords. So it could be somebody who is very grounded, maybe very artistic, attention to detail, very much career oriented, interested in finances, business, that type of energy. It doesn't necessarily have to be a feminine energy. It could be a masculine energy. So we're just going by the energy of the Queen or King of Cups and the Pentacles. And the King of Cups is someone who's emotionally available, mature, emotionally grounded as well. But it could be somebody who is maybe in the process of healing after some sort of disappointment, with the Four of Swords coming out. So this is someone who is very much focused on their peace, doing things that help keep them in a, I guess, more peaceful state of mind and peaceful energy. Anything else? The Seven of Cups. You know, someone who may have been confused or is considering different options, looking at someone who may be dreaming, having dreams. It does show the Four of Swords, someone who's resting. So someone may be, like I said, in the process of healing, but focusing more so on peace. Possibly calming their mind if they are experiencing any sort of mental confusion, emotional confusion, and working towards grounding themselves. So that could be who the King of Cups energy is. So it could be, well, the King of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles, basically kings, they say, are the fixed signs of tarot. So of the zodiac, sorry. So if it's the fixed sign for waters, water signs, so the cups, it will be Scorpio, and the Queen of Pentacles would be a Taurus energy, right? So water and earth is prevalent here. Good morning, V. How are you? Okay, so we have the Page of Cups showing up, and the Page of Cups is interesting because another earth sign energy came in. So I feel like somebody is maybe very grounded, someone who is loving and who is in touch with their emotions, who may be sensitive, but they're also very, like I said, focused on finances, focusing on the bag, focusing on stability and security. So the Page of Cups, it could be somebody who wants to communicate some sort of plan that they have, some strategy that they have in regards to stability, to making money or finances, or just some ultimate goal, like reaching the level of someone maybe wanting to level up, you know, because right now we have a Queen and King showing up, and then we have a Page going into a Knight of Pentacles. So this is somebody, the Page of Pentacles, like I feel like is primarily a water sign, but who may be very much grounded, may have a lot of earth in their chart possibly, or it could just simply be someone who is sensitive, who's caring, compassionate, who is taking some sort of strategic or planning something strategic, taking strategic action, but it's something that is going to take some time. It's not something that is rushed, because if you know anything about wealth happens, for some people it happens overnight, but for other people who wants like stable wealth, it usually takes some time, you know. So it requires patience, it requires perseverance, dedication, maybe even routine. So somebody is coming up with some sort of plan. But what is this plan with the King of Pentacles? Because there could be somebody who wants to communicate, because a Page is someone who communicates. But maybe this person wants to communicate something about something that they really care about, or are really feeling emotionally connected to, but it has to do with some type of long-term plan. I mentioned, like, so the first cards that we have were the timing oracle cards, and we have sometime in the future, August, which is sometime in the future, right? And then next fall, which is in September and October. So August, September, and October may be prevalent dates. Number 4, 22, and 2 reduces down to 4, and then 12. Number 12 reduces down to 3. So I would say the next 3 to 4 months. Right now we're in May, June, July, August. August is 3 months from now. And September is 4 months from now. So 3 to 4 months from now may be prevalent on time periods sometime in the future. So 3 to 4 months. So this reading may be foretelling something that may happen within the next 3 to 4 months for someone. Let's see. What is this plan? Because we see at the end, we have the king, the page of cups, the king of cups, the page of cups, and the two of cups. So this is about some sort of emotional connection between two people. It could be a same-sex relationship. It could even be where someone's more mature and older than another person, because we have a king and queen, and then we have knights and pages showing up. Knights and pages are younger than kings and queens. So there could be an age difference. So we have the Empress card showing up. Somebody is, definitely thinking about some sort of long-term plan, something that is going to take some time, requires patience, dedication. And it may be something new, something that someone may be wanting to create. It could even have to do with family, wanting to have a family, wanting to have a baby, something like that. May have to do with pregnancy, but that may not resonate with everybody, because not everybody can get pregnant and not everyone wants to have kids. And then we have Taurus showing up here, and Libra. But we have a lot of earth and water for the most part. Yeah, we have 7 of Cups, King of Cups, Page of Cups, and 2 of Cups. And then the person's on a boat. So it's like someone is just like cruising in some way. Maybe trying not to let... I think someone has a handle on their emotions. Someone's becoming more emotionally grounded, emotionally more mature. And it probably was a slow and steady process for this person to reach this level of emotional stability. I was talking about like this change. It's the Wheel of Fortune. So someone knows that in order for things to get better and for things to improve, that there needs to be some sort of growth within oneself. And it could be that's what's going on. Someone is, like I said, maturing, becoming more emotionally mature, more stable, learning different ways to remain peaceful, trying to protect their peace, even calming their emotions or conflicting emotions, especially if someone was moody. But we have the 2 of Cups showing up. So I want to know, I'm asking about the 2 of Cups, and I look at the bottom of the deck and I see the 10 of Pentacles. This has to do with family, longevity, legacy, wealth, abundance, family, generations, generational wealth, lineage. So maybe someone is thinking, or someone's realizing that there needs to be some sort of maturity, some sort of internal evolution change that they need to make within themselves, or maybe something that has been occurring over time. Sometimes we need to go through certain experiences because it forces us to grow. So that could be with something someone may be experiencing, right? And then with it's definitely about growth. I don't know, for some reason I'm thinking inner child. So we see the king and page showing up too. So maybe this is the king, right? And this is the inner child, the page. So this person has learned how to master their emotions in some way. Like I said, it's a slow and steady process. It took time. The Wheel of Fortune can move really fast, or it can move really slow. It can move in your favor or against you, right? So I feel like someone has learned a lesson, and they're learning that they have to go with the flow. You can't fight the current, and you have to go with the flow. Ride the waves of emotion. Don't let them control you. You control your emotions. Don't let your emotions control you. But I'm thinking about like this 2 of Cups could simply be someone being in balance with themselves, right? Balancing their emotions, remaining emotionally stable, but even grounded. You know what I mean? But let's see what the 2 of Cups is. I just saw the Ace of Swords. So someone has gained some sort of clarity too about some sort of change that they have to make. But I want to know, what is this Two of Cups? What is this Two of Cups? Because we need to find out if this is what this type of Two of Cups. What are these Two of Cups? What is the Two of Cups? What is the Two of Cups? I don't know. What is the Two of Cups? Why is the Two of Cups here? So we have Eight of Swords. Someone may have been trapped in their mind. Conflicting thoughts, conflicting ideas, creating their own mental prison. But they may be reflecting on a version of themselves where they always felt trapped in their mind. You know, trapped in their fears. Okay. But what else? How is this related to the Two of Cups? How is the Eight of Swords related to the Two of Cups? So I could be seeing how their emotions, or the lack of a control or mastery over one's emotions, has affected connections they have with people, how they interact with people, how they connect with people, and it could be like in a platonic level or even a romantic or professional level. But the Nine of Pentacles, so someone who has been in the independent energy, someone who's probably used to being single, probably used to being on their own and focusing on themselves, like self-care, their abundance, their career, their finances. So someone may have also felt like that's something that they had to put more focus on than anything else, and that created some sort of restriction on themselves. Because if you think about the Eight of Swords, the person is mentally restricted. It's like the person may be like seemingly fine right here, but they're looking, it's like they're seeing how they are internally, you know, and they're seeing a mirror version of themselves in the water, which is tied to our emotions, right? So it could be how someone perceives themselves, you know, or how they want to perceive themselves. But in a way, they created some sort of restriction because they're more so focused on how they are appearing in the 3D rather than internally. Like they're working on their inner self more instead of working on the external, you know, like how people see them, how people view them, if they're valued by other people and stuff. But I feel like somebody is removing that restriction from themselves. They're no longer blocking themselves, but the Two of Swords coming out in the reverse. You know, I think someone, like I said, someone is having a realization, an epiphany, and I think they're realizing that that's something that they need to change, especially when it comes to how they're connecting to other people in any sense of the word, whether it's romantic or professionally or even platonically, even with family. But I don't feel like I'm not getting love in this, with this. I'm not getting love with this. For some reason. I feel like I don't see love in this situation at all. It's the thing. This is very broad. It's not, I think this is someone needing to understand, maybe someone needs to know that there needs to be some sort of change with how they handle their emotions, and how important it is for them to ground themselves and even channel that energy, especially if they're feeling a lot of emotional confusion, how it's important for them to channel that energy towards something productive rather than being stuck. Maybe somebody feels like their emotions keep them stuck, and that may be why. It could be somebody's maybe experiencing depression too. Someone may be experiencing depression, but if they are, it's a matter of them. How are they going to dig themselves out of that hole? Are they going to just allow the emotions to dictate their actions, or are they going to find peace and try to find more productive ways of channeling that energy, you know? But it's something that it's a slow progress, but it seems like it's possible just as long as someone focuses on the growth that they want to see, focus on the change they want to see in their own life, and understanding how important it is for them to not create restrictions for themselves, especially if they're carrying how other people view them, how other people value them, or how they feel like they have to present themselves to the world itself. So I feel like this is somebody coming into harmony with themselves, learning how to ground their emotions, learning how to master their emotions, and even remove any restrictions that they have that impacts their connection with other people. Yeah, I think somebody may need to have more passion. Maybe things are like a little slow, a little dry. Maybe they need to have a little bit more fun too. And that could be something that's lacking here. Like someone may be spending more time focusing on material rather than experiences, you know, or healing. So yeah, this is what I'm getting, because I see the Fool card coming out too. So this is about a new cycle. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. I saw a Fool. I just lost where the Fool was. I've seen a bunch of different cards. Where was the Fool? Okay. Because I saw the Sun. I saw Queen of Wands. I said someone has to reflect on their fears, trust their intuition too. Because I see the Seven of Pentacles. So this is about reflection, evaluation, taking stock, looking at what limitations they've set upon themselves, and even trusting their own intuition, you know, to guide them in what action they should take, especially if they experience some sort of tower moment. But essentially the towers are going to free them, allow them to be more authentic, more alive, possibly, especially if someone is undergoing depression or experiencing depression at this time. So this could be something that's culminating between the next full moon, which is on May 31st, and that moon will be in Sagittarius, or it could be something that's going to be happening in August or next fall, which is in September or October. So those months may be prevalent. Or that could be readings, since I said specific months, and months are showing up, those could be birth months. It could be somebody, this reading could be meant for somebody that may be around you, who may be undergoing some sort of transformation within themselves or needing to. So that's that for that reading. So let me see what time it is now. Excuse me. I'm just trying to remain chill right now because, ooh. Some people today. For some reason, I really don't want to people. I don't want to deal with people. It's like, I don't know, some of you may understand this. Like, you just don't want to deal with people. You don't want to talk to anybody. You don't even want to help anybody. You just want to be by yourself. And it could be that too for someone. All right. Let me put these time frame cards away. Earlier today I did a reading. I think it's kind of time sensitive because it's something that may be happening at the end of the week for someone. So I try to read it in two ways. Like, it's a career reading, but also a love reading. So after this live stream, you could go check it out and see how it resonates with you. Let's see. Let me see who's in the chat. Okay. Hi, Lion Sky. How are you? Hi, Evie. Hi, Ethel. I hope all of you are doing well. Okay. So yesterday's reading was really good. I liked yesterday's reading. Let's see. So I'm going to answer yes or no questions. So yes or no questions. If you're new to my channel, my name is Tan. Artemis Oracle is my channel. I'm an oracle and tarot card reader. So when I do yes or no questions, it's with a yes will be an upright and a no will be a reversal. And depending on the question and the card that comes out, I may explain the reason why it's a yes or no. Not all messages are going to resonate with you. So, and always take any reading with a grain of salt. Ultimately, you are responsible for your own life decisions, not tarot cards and not me, not Artemis Oracle. You are responsible for your own life choices. I am not liable for anything that you choose to do in your real life, because you know your situation better than I do. Okay? I have to say that. All tarot readings are for entertainment purposes only. That's the disclaimer, especially since I am living in New York State, and that's something I have to say too, you know. So if you have a yes or no question, feel free to put it in the chat. I don't really know if there's anybody still in the chat. You have to be a subscriber too. I think I put it for at least 10 minutes. So let's see something. Just want to check. Put this low. Yes. Oh, thank you, V. Okay, so does anybody have a yes or no question? Just in case you know, a yes or no question is a closed-ended question. So it can't be like, what is someone's current feelings for me? How is somebody feeling about me? When will I get the job? Or when will I get an apartment? Or anything like that. I tried using the timing oracle cards in a reading. I'm like, okay, no, I don't want to do that. I have to prep those cards more for that. I have to spend a little more time with those cards. But also, it's like to give a time frame is can be frustrating because I might say something that somebody doesn't want to hear, and I don't want to hear the whining. Even in the message, I could hear whining because of the way I read. You know. All right, so let me know if you have a question. I wonder if I reversed some of these cards already. No, I haven't. Okay, so if no one has a question, then I can go into another reading so that there's no dead air. I like that the first reading wasn't about love, because then now I could do a love reading. I could do a love reading. I wanted to use my love oracle cards just to see what love messages we get too. Let's see what love messages we get. So no one has put any questions in the chat from what I can see. So let's see. What love messages do we have for the collective? That's for the highest and greatest good. What love messages do we have for the collective? Oh, I'm sorry. Like today is like one of those days where I'm like, somebody already like complained about something, and I'm like, okay, you just I was like, why the freak did I entertain this conversation? You know? It's like, so it's okay, Vixen. Maybe next live stream you could do that. Because right now I feel like I'm low vibing, so I feel like I'm in low battery mode right now. Okay, let's see what love messages we get for the collective. Thank you. Okay, finality. Okay, there's some sort of ending, farewells, leave behind, closure. So there may be something closing out. And it could be a breakup, right? But it could be the end of, you could be closing out a cycle with someone. It could be like closing out a cycle and starting a new cycle. It could be you're completely leaving someone behind. That's Eight of Cups energy. It could also be that you could be moving away from sadness, depression, or any disappointment in a relationship. So it's also Five of Cups. So I'm getting Eight of Cups and Five of Cups energy from this card. You know, because if you see the Masters, it's here. So someone may be sad, disappointed about something, sad and disappointed about some sort of ending. But it, like I say, you know, like if we choose to end a relationship, hi Dana, how are you? If we choose to end a relationship, it's still sad, you know, it's still sad. You know, you can cry about it, you can mourn it, you can grieve it, but it's like you're allowed to do that. So we also have twin flame, mirroring, shared feelings, and reflection. Okay, so some of you may be dealing with a twin flame connection. Someone that you feel like is a soulmate, that you feel like you mirror each other, that you can see yourself in the other person, or they show you parts of yourself that you didn't really recognize or wanted to see. So they made you more aware of yourself. And that too is like finality. It could be some of you, like I'm going by the twin flame of finality. Sometimes when you see yourself reflected in someone, it can inspire change, right? And it could kind of put you in this place where you like reach this tail end of a version of yourself, or maybe you decide to change something within yourself, and like a toxic trait that you may have, a behavior, an addiction, a mindset. It could be that, right? And I'm going by finality and twin flame, but like some of you could actually be like you're moving away from twin flame connection because, for whatever reason, maybe they showed you something that you didn't like or that you didn't want. And that could be why you're moving away, or it could be it showed you something that you didn't like or you didn't want anymore within yourself, or it could be them and they're ending that, they're stopping it, like a toxic trait, behavior, addiction, habit, something. And breaking point, limit, final straw, overwhelmed. If you like twin flame connections, from my understanding, and I think maybe I should do more research, but I tend not to believe in that in a way, because it seems like it's giving you the idea that there's just one person meant for you. And I don't think that's true. But that's just my opinion, because I think that we can have one person that's meant to be with us during certain cycles of our life. Because if you're a human being, you're actually supposed to be evolving. So if you and your person are not evolving together, then of course you're going to outgrow each other, and then you're going to meet people who are more at your level and who match what you are, match your vibration, match your the future outlook that you have for yourself. So that's why I kind of don't believe in the twin flame thing, because it makes it sound like there's only one other person for you. But I believe anybody can believe whatever they want. So if you want to believe in a twin flame, that's good for you. You do what's right for you. I believe in soulmates. I do believe in that. But that's just my 2 cents, even though you didn't ask for a penny, right? I've been getting these really funny phrases from Tyler's Tarot, like on the milk carton you go. I like that one. Anyway, so someone has reached some sort of breaking point within some sort of connection, and that may be lending to some sort of ending. These 2 cards wanted to come out. See, I feel like there may have been a lot of back and forth, a lot of inconsistency, because yeah, you may have had really good times with this person, chasing thrills, excitement, good time. It says that and then confusion. Like, so you and this person could have had shared a lot of really exciting moments together, and you enjoyed each other's company. You enjoyed even the intimacy that you shared with this person. But it's like you're not sure about what this connection is. Does it have a longevity, or there may have been some sort of inconsistency with the connection too, that it's like it made you feel it made you feel like you were insecure, you were not secure in the connection. Yeah, you had good times, but there was things that were happening or things not happening that were confusing you. So I think if you were going through some sort of cycle with this person, it's like you reached a breaking point, and that's where you're maybe wanting to cut the connection off, or you want to disengage, or it could be certain things, internal things that you may have been going through, or they may have been going through, where, I earlier I was talking about mental health with depression. I don't know if someone's going through something like that, but it's popping up in my mind. It made me think about some certain mental disorders where people have mood disorders too. Somebody may be inconsistent, maybe having a lot of highs and then maybe having their lows, if you know what I'm talking about when it comes to mental health disorders. But I feel like if my understanding of twin flames is that there's this cycle where you're constantly together and then you fall apart, and then you come together and you fall apart. But it's like some of you were may have been confused by how the connection was going. And the confusion ultimately has taken over, and you're like, I need certainty, I need clarity, I need stability. You need all the itties, because if not, it's going to be finality. This is what I'm getting. I try to be funny too. No, I noticed I was doing that and it just came out. Yeah, like some of you may have started to withdraw from the connection, maybe like just disengaging, detaching from the person, single, lonely, solitary, going hermit, being on your own, because at least when you're on your own, you're already sure, you're already clear about how you feel, you already know what you want to do, you made some sort of decision, you took some sort of action, and you've decided that something needs to close out. Something needs to close out in this connection. And it could be the need to close out a cycle of instability to bring instability, or it's just completely cutting off the connection. Like I said, it's depending on your situation. Everybody's situation is different. I feel like the confusion and the ecstasy card come out together. They're together. And it makes sense, because if there's a lot of confusion, sometimes you need to take time to yourself so that you can like get your thoughts, get your emotions in order, not be caught up in it's in the I want to say thrill of it all, because now I'm thinking about that Sam Smith song, but you don't want to be dealing with the emotions of being in the situation, so you have to detach so that you can start to see things clearly, start to take stock, evaluate the relationship, evaluate the weak points, the breaking point. Why have you reached this point? What is it that needs to change? Is it something that can change? Is it something that you can end so that you can continue moving forward on your own or within the connection itself? Because some people want to stay with the person, whoever they believe is their twin flame, and some people just want to be on their own. Like they just want to totally disengage so that they can collect themselves and find more clarity and peace. Because with confusion, there's no peace in confusion. You don't feel peaceful in confusion. There's no peace in that. I don't know how anybody could feel peaceful when they're not really sure. Like I said, there's no certainty, there's no clarity, there's no stability, or security. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if somebody may have been sabotaging the connection. And they usually say that with the twin flame connection, that there's someone who is the runner and the chaser. The runner is usually the person that is the saboteur, the person that is not ready to be in a connection, or they need to do a lot of healing, and maybe they're not seeing what the connection for what it is, or there may be a lot of internal struggles that the person needs to work through in order to be in a healthy relationship with someone, and from what I understand, twin flame connections aren't necessarily the person you're meant to be with for the rest of your life. They're meant to help show you parts of yourself that need to heal, that need to be improved upon, so that when you do reach that point, essentially they're supposed to be like catalysts in a way, from my understanding. But I know some people, they could end up with their twin flame or their soulmate or the catalyst, the karmic, however you want to see it, because everybody has their own ideas. I told you my idea, So somebody may have been sabotaging the connection, maybe even been deceitful. And that could be where the confusion could have stemmed from too. If there was a lot of lies, half-truths are still a lie, just so you know. Okay, let's see. What else can we get for whoever this may resonate with? So, tell us more about this connection. Yeah. Withdrawn. Withdrawn, hermit energy, that's Virgo energy, earth sign energy. So, like I said, confusion, there's no peace in confusion. And here you see confusion and the person's looking at a body of water. There may have been a lot of confusing emotions someone may have been experiencing. But then, like I said, someone decided they needed to withdraw. They reached some sort of breaking point, and they decided, they need to ground themselves. And withdrawal is a way of grounding yourself. It's a way of taking yourself out of a situation that is stressful, anxiety inducing, sleepless night inducing. Nine of Swords. It's making me think about that. Maybe Eight of Swords. We do have the Seven of Swords, which makes sense. Someone could have lied, put you in your head, trap you in your head, even have you losing sleep because of something that you weren't sure about, that you needed more clarity about, more information. But it's like you're seeing like, okay, well, I'm not going to get that. Possibly I'm not going to get this. So I may have to withdraw from somebody. I need to take time to myself, nurture myself, focus on the things I care about. Because when you focus on the things you care about, you're nurturing yourself. You're caring about yourself. Some of you may be creatives. You may be, creating art. You may be, doing something just to distract yourself, or maybe even channeling that confusion or this I would say even emotional turmoil that you may be experiencing, this confusion and uncertainty, imbalance. You just want to clear your mind, and you possibly are finding different ways to channel that energy towards something more productive. You may be involving yourself with work, maybe even volunteering, just using that energy, putting that energy to good use rather than wasting it on trying to figure some jigsaw puzzle of a person out. If they haven't been very clear, may have caused a lot of confusion to you. Okay, tell me what else about this situation. I got two cards. What did I say? Look what came out. Eight of Cups. Didn't I say the finality card reminded me Eight of Cups? You were not satisfied. You were not fulfilled. You were not happy. You're going towards happiness, clarity, sunshine, It's like this confusion, like I said, with the withdrawal. You see the suns, two suns in this picture? Orange chakra, sacral chakra. Yes. If you were a chaser, some of you were like, yeah, I'm not going to chase you anymore. I'm not going to chase you anymore. I don't know if some of you may have been a chaser. You may have been putting energy towards, if this person was a runner, some of you may have been a chaser. And you're like turning your back on that. You're like, yeah, I'm tired. I'm like, if somebody wants me, they know where to find me. But you're like, I know where to find you, but I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to chase you. I feel like the fact that the Knight of Swords is indicating like he's on a motorcycle. This in reverse is like, no, this is fast thoughts, fast ideas, taking fast actions, maybe even acting impulsively without really thinking. Like you have an idea and then you just act on it. Some of you are like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. Nah, I'm going to walk away instead. Instead of chasing, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to turn around and walk away. Yeah, look at the Fool card right there. You're like, you're freeing yourself. You're liberating yourself from this. You've withdrawn. Look at this. The Hermit came out. Wasn't I talking about the Hermit with the withdrawn card? And then when the Queen of Pentacles came out, Earth sign energy, Virgo. Right? The Hermit is Virgo energy. For some of you, you may be coming out of Virgo mode. Hermit mode, sorry, because some of you may be coming out of Hermit mode. But I don't know why. Let's see why. I don't know if it's because of this person or because something else. Maybe because you have found clarity. Maybe you found clarity, and that could be with the withdrawn. Like you. But there may be certain people that may not have moved away. They may be stuck in this. So this could be somebody's reading, letting them know that if there is a lot of confusion in a situation, sometimes you need to take a step back. Sometimes you need to withdraw, just so you can look at things from from a different perspective. Like to defamiliarize yourself, just in case anyone doesn't know what that is. Remember, when you're familiar with something, you already know how something is, you know how someone is, you already know how things work. Defamiliarization is not looking at it from that standpoint. It's like having a beginner's mind, looking at it from a different perspective and looking at it as if it's something brand new that you're learning again. It's not anything you're wiping away any information or knowledge that you have on a specific topic, but you're now looking at it as if it's a brand new topic that you're just learning. So some of you may need to step back, go hermit, just so that you can start to see things more clearly rather than being in the throes of the situation and the throes of the confusion and mental and emotional anguish that you may be going through. You having to take the time apart so that you can see the truth rather than be blinded by your emotions, blinded by confusion or deception, just taking stock of the cold, hard facts, and you can only do that on your own. We have the Five of Pentacles showing up. This is a solitary energy. This is someone who is maybe feeling, I don't know if this is how this connection had you feeling like you weren't worthy, like you may have felt left out. Especially if this person constantly had you chasing them. But if you think about it, why would somebody who wants you run away from you? That doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't, and some of you may have internalized that and thought that maybe there's something wrong with you, that you're not lovable, that you're not lovable, that you're not worthy, that you're not good enough. But that has nothing to do with you. This is the other person's inconsistency. And wherever that inconsistency is coming from, where it stems from, that's a them issue. It's not a you issue, but there's a part of you that has to understand what is it that allows yourself to allow someone else's deficiencies determine your self-worth, So that could be something that you need to understand and realize about yourself. But it's important, in order for you to do that, is you need to take time and withdraw from the situation, And some of you already know this. You already know that this is something that you need to do, but you, like these people say, the heart wants what it wants. There are things that we want, but is it good for us? Sometimes it's not. It's this heart, and we have the intuition card. That's why I'm saying you know what you need to do. Heart, song, telepathy, inner knowing. This is about you trusting your intuition, trusting that you know what to do, what you need to do, especially if this situation has brought you a lot of grief, a lot of disappointment, a lot of sadness. And I even mentioned depression right here. Look at depression, loss, grief, depression. If this connection led you to be depressed, maybe even caused you to withdraw even from the things that you love to do. Some of you, that could be it. Like some of you are in situations where you were so invested in one particular person that you think was a twin flame that you lost yourself. Some of you have lost yourself. This is why you need to go hermit, because you need to rediscover yourself. You have to remember, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this very harshly because I need you to understand. You need to remember who the fuck you are. You were somebody before you met I'm about to say this nobody. Before you met this person, you were somebody. And some of you may have got lost in the connection, And that could be where this confusion is coming from too, because you may be like, what the fuck is happening? I don't feel like myself anymore. And this isolation is what's going to allow you to reconnect to yourself, even reconnect to the things that you love, that you enjoyed doing, that was good for you, that nurtured your soul, that fed your soul, that led to your growth, to your stability, what brought you stability, security. Remember, the stability and security, we have to have that within ourselves. That's not something that an external person can bring to us, because guess what? We are going to be alone. We were born alone. We came out of the canal. Hopefully, if you were a twin, that's totally different though. But we come into this world on our own, right? We're our own person. That's what I mean. And you have to be at peace with who you are. And some of you may have lost sight of who you are, and you need to reconnect to that. You know, especially if you've been with someone who may have been deceptive, played mind games. This person possibly could have been manipulative in the worst sense, maybe even narcissistic. Maybe. I don't throw that word around a lot, but because that's a diagnosis. I know people throw that word around a lot like it's like like no, that narcissism is a diagnosable personality disorder, you know, so people throw it around like that. And just so you know, everybody has narcissistic traits. It's just people who are diagnosed as narcissists to have it at the grand scale, that it is like completely destructive to themselves, but mostly to the people who are around them, you know. So I try not to throw that term around a lot because it is a diagnosis. But anyway, this is about you reconnecting to yourself. You know, this person probably thought, look at that. What the hell didn't I say that some of you may have been chasers? Look at this. Like, this person may be calling your bluff. Like, you may be getting to this point where you're wanting to make some sort of decision. I don't know if this is a decision you've done before, and then you ended up going back to the person, and then it's like you continue with this merry-go-round with the chasing and stuff. Look, the chasing card came out. Pursuit, toxicity, resilience. You know, you have to focus on yourself, focus on your mental health, your peace. Yeah, because there may have been somebody that's they may be calling your bluff. They may be, but you have to be strong, especially if you feel like you've detached from yourself. You need to reconnect to yourself. Remember who you are. Remember who the fuck you are. Remember. Somebody needs to wake up, you know? Remember. Because as long as you don't take the time to reconnect to yourself, reconnect to who you're meant to be, who you were born to be, you're not going anywhere. You're not gonna see any progress. You're gonna be stuck. You're gonna be miserable. You know, you had to put yourself first. But you already know this. Some of you may be ignoring this. You know, you don't trust yourself. You have to trust yourself. Remember that. You know, remember, your value, your worth is determined by how you allow other people to treat you. And if you allow people to use you, abuse you, then you're not showing any self-respect. You're not showing that you value yourself. You know, so it's important for you to remember who the fuck you are. Yeah. And it's like, once you rediscover yourself, you find your footing, you're going to be more happy. You're going to feel more stable. You're going to enjoy life. You're going to remember what life was before you met this person. If this is like the worst case scenario, which is what I'm getting here. Look at that. Because I'm going to show you when I split the deck. It's 4 of Wands, 10 of Pentacles. Well, underneath the 5 of Pentacles, it's like you have to love yourself. Go towards self-love. Put yourself first. Don't be afraid to be on your own. Don't be afraid to be alone. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you're afraid to be alone and then you settle for this. But there's some of you I feel like a lot of you are reaching your breaking point and you're like realizing that you deserve better. You know? But the thing is, it's what you moving away from this situation, moving away from this 5 of Pentacles mentality, this lack mindset. It's going to require self-love on your part. It's going to require you to not be afraid, to be brave. I know, like, to be alone is a scary situation, you know, especially if you're so used to being in relationships or you've always been around people. But the thing is, it's like you have to trust yourself, you know, you have to be strong for yourself. You know, nobody can make this decision but you, because this is your life, you know. But underneath, it's about you taking leadership, being a leader. With the King of Wands showing up, the King of, and this is Leo, so Lion, Leo, fixed sign, King, Leo, Leo's card with Strength card. So some of you may have Leo in your chart too, but it's like you have to take leadership, you know. You have to take leadership of your life. But see, it's like once you do this, you make this decision to choose yourself and you reconnect maybe even to friends, family. Like if you felt like you've detached from them because you were like, I don't want to say but maybe some of you may have been obsessed, may have been codependent in a relationship. But then once you detach, you withdraw from this connection, then you start to reconnect to who you are. You'll see that, reconnect to your family, your friends, to the things you love, then you're going to be able to enjoy your life. You'll remove any confusion that you've been experiencing, but also any sadness, sorrow too. And then see 10 of Pentacles underneath that. You have maybe feeling more stable, more secure, and even moving towards a connection that has everything that you need, everything that you want, where you can have the family, where you can have the white picket fence, where you can have the money, the car, the whatever it is that you want, whatever you see for yourself when it comes to a future relationship, right? And also but this is all about you focusing on what matters. And what matters is you. You have to nurture yourself just as much as you want to be with someone who is going to nurture themselves. Because think about it. If you're nurturing yourself, that means you're healthy. You care about yourself. But then who you are is who shows up in a relationship, right? And then you'll match that. You'll meet somebody who matches that. Someone who cares about themselves, who nurtures themselves, and in turn will nurture you just as much as you nurture each other. And it's because you'll see each other's value, but first you had to reconnect to yourself, rediscover your value, and then restabilize yourself. Be stable, be happy, go towards joy, go towards everything that makes you happy, what makes you feel good, feeds your soul. Like I said, that's the most important thing. But then underneath that is like happiness. But the first step is you doing what you need to do. If you feel like you have to move away from a situation that has been unhealthy for you, that has made you lose sight of who you are, disconnect from the things that you love, even the people you love, the things that you used to love doing, or even the goals that you had for yourself, for your future, what you envision yourself, you have to free yourself. I think you need to start chasing your dreams instead of chasing a twin flame, whoever that person may be to you, And if you have to take time to yourself, then do that. Take time to yourself. Just, the Hermit in reverse is like, some of you may not have made that decision. Some of you may not realize that's something you need to do in order to heal, to find clarity, to find peace, to move towards peace. Instead of chasing a good time, something that's caused you confusion, even questioning yourself in some way. So I'm going to end that reading there. I see someone has a question. Jenny has a question about a job. Okay, so let me clear this up and then I'll answer Jenny's question. So I hope that reading resonates with someone in the best way possible. I hope it resonates with someone in the best way possible. I hope it resonates in any way to anyone who has been watching so far. If you're new to my channel, my name is Tan. Artemis Oracle is my channel. And I just did 2 readings. These are not personal readings. These are collective readings. So it's specifically for whoever it's meant for. I don't know who that message was meant for, but it's meant for someone. So I thank you for being here, for liking and possibly subscribing. Okay, let me put these cards away. I just gotta mentally and spiritually prepare myself for this one. I'm gonna answer Jenny's question. Thank you, Jenny. I hope you're still there. Thank you for waiting. If you're still here, I hope everybody's having a good day. Hi, Lion Sky. Hope you're doing well. Let's see for Jenny. For Jenny Sandoval. Okay. Jenny. Okay, good afternoon, Jenny. Thank you for subscribing. Let me see what comes out for Jenny. Let me make sure I put these cards, I set these cards out for answering. So just so you know, when I answer a yes or no question, and for Jenny or whoever else wants to ask a yes or no question, the upright card is a yes and reversal is a no, depending on your question. And the card that comes out, I can explain to you why that specific message or specific card came out. But it depends. Let me see. What is the collective? No. It's Jenny. Jenny. Flipping these cards for yes or no. Some clarity to do. Answering Jenny's question. This is Jenny's question. So what the answer that Jenny needs to know at this time. What does Jenny need to know at this time? Jenny. Suvra, I'm gonna be honest. I'm no longer gonna answer your questions about Lippy. I'm sorry. I'm no longer answering your questions about Lippy. I'm sorry. I don't feel like I'm the best reader for you, Suvra. Okay, so let's see for Jenny. Jenny. What does Jenny need to know? Okay. Will Jenny get the job? Wait, let's see. Will Jenny get the new job for the interview that Jenny went on? Will Jenny get the job? Will Jenny get the job? Will Jenny Sandoval get the job that she interviewed for? Will Jenny get the job that she interviewed for? Ooh, it's saying yes, Jenny. Whenever I see the 7 of Wands, is indicating that like this is someone that like, I don't know what kind of position it is, but I don't know if it's something that's like a highly competitive type of position. But since the card came out in the upright, I feel like the reason why it's a yes is because you stood out against the other candidates. That you may have certain skills and talents that made you stand out, and that is the reason why you're gonna get the position. That's what I get from this card. So it's saying yes for you. Yes, you're gonna be, I don't know if you're currently working somewhere, but you're gonna be leaving a job, going towards something new. So I hope that helps you, Jenny. I hope that helps, Jenny. I'm not answering that question, Prince. I'm being very selective with the questions I'm answering too. Because your boss isn't here, so I can only answer questions that are related to you. I can't answer questions about someone else who's not here. You're welcome. I hope it works out for you, Jenny. I hope so. Good luck. But that card says yes, so if you do get the job, please let us know, because I like to know. Good luck, Jenny. Are you your boss? I'm sorry, I don't answer questions about other people because your boss is not here. Unless you did voodoo on your boss. I'm joking about that, but your boss has to ask me that question. That's like a third party question. The person's not here. That's like what you call it? Like what do you call those? Like spying reads. I don't do spying reads. I may lose subscribers, but that's okay. That's okay. Okay. Then why are you asking me if you said it and you feel it? Okay, does anybody else have a question that's related to them? Please. I'm not gonna go back and forth about it, you know. Okay. So I don't see any other questions from the chat. So let me see what else I could do. Let's see, revealing the truth. Revealing the truth. Hi, Shante. Oh my God, I missed you. Where have you been? Where have you been on my life? How are you doing? Yes, it's been a long time. I wonder if I was like, oh my God, did I offend her? Did I make Shante go away? Oh, good. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so I'm going to be going into, okay, I'm glad to know that. Thank you. So I'm going to be going into revealing the truth reading. I'm going into revealing the truth oracle deck. Okay. Oh my gosh, I had to take a break for, you know already. So I'm starting up the yes or no questions again. So let's see. Revealing the truth, revealing the truth. So what message is the collective? I hope your family is doing well, Shante. I hope everybody's family is doing well. I hope everybody's family is doing well. Let's see, what does the collective need to know? What does the collective need to know? Let me see something. Thank God, yes, everybody's healthy and safe. That's the most important thing. Thank you. Okay. So what truth does the collective need to know at this time? What truth does the collective need to know at this time? What truth does the collective need to? Key people, core of the problem or past. Key people. So the key people are important people. People who make decisions, who hold some sort of authority, power. There could be people who could solve your problems. They could help you solve your problems. But you know what's funny? For some of you may not realize that you can be the key person in your life, or that you could be the reason why you're experiencing some troubles. You know, you may be the core or the cause of your own problems, because the mirror, reflection, reference, distinguish, appearance. But it could also be that some of you are reflecting on those people in your life who have been important in the negative way or have played some sort of impact on your life. So you see crown, owner, top, master. Owner level. Yeah, like it could be like I said, somebody very important. But I feel like if you really think about it, this could be you understanding how you have power over your own life. You know, how you have authority. We all have a metaphorical crown. Remember, we have our own kingdoms. Our world is our kingdom. You know, we decide who we let in, who we kick out, who we let into our castle, and who we kick out of our castle. We remove people who are problems, and we allow people who are problem solvers, people who help make our lives better, or remove people who make our lives worse or impact us. But this is also about taking ownership of any decisions, actions that you may have made, regardless of how they turned out. If they turned out good or they turned out bad. For some of you, if you did take a test, and the only reason I'm saying this, some of you may have taken some sort of test. I don't know what kind of test it is. It could be any type of test. Whatever that means to someone, you're going to pass the test. And that could be where the level up is coming up too. So it could be a literal test, like you have A, B, C, D, multiple choice type of test, or it could be some sort of test you've experienced in a situation that you may be passing. And that's where you're getting some sort of recognition, some sort of prestige, even a level up. Some of you could have mastered something. Some of you may be earning your master's degree too. Let's see. You know, if that's whatever it is, you're reflecting on it. You're looking back at it. You're reflecting on it. You may be even looking back and you may be giving yourself a pat on the back saying, wow, I can't believe I did that. Out of everything that I went through, and I somehow made it here. I've overcome so much crap, so much, I want to say obstructions. So they may have a lot of challenges. May have had a lot of battles. I'm thinking about obstacles. That's the word. I fucking forgot that word, obstacles. You've overcome a lot of obstacles. You know, and it's like whatever it is, it's like serendipity, it's a catalyst or karmic, something that you passed. It's what's catapulting you towards something. And with the catalyst, it's like it's triggering something. It could even be karma, and karma could be negative or positive. I know typically karma is more like dharma is good, karma not so much, but I could be wrong. But it's good karma. You know, things are aligning, things are happening the way they're meant to. And it's also you, like I feel like some of you may have passed something. And whatever it is, you're reflecting on everything that you've experienced, and you're maybe thinking like, I can't believe I went through all of that. I overcame all of that, and I'm here. I am right now. Here I am, baby. Here I am, baby. That's a song. That's a soul song. I think it's a Motown song. Here I am, baby. Something like that. It could be that. This is about trusting your intuition. Sixth sense, intuition, subconscious. That could be what some of you are passing. Intuition requires trust in yourself. You have to trust yourself. Something happened that you like I said, you had you went through some sort of test. I don't know what kind of test this is. But it could have been a test of you trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, making the right choice. You know, maybe in the past you ignored your intuition. You couldn't discern what was your intuition, but now you're now able to discern. You're able to see the truth. You know you're more connected with yourself, and you're trusting the inner guidance that you have within, that compass that exists within you. And then, and it could have been, this could have been something that you're like, wow, you could have been making the wrong decisions in the past, and then you finally made the right one, and this is where you're going to see, like I said, some sort of level up, some sort of change. Some of you may have been mastering your intuition, you know? Some of you, like, it's mystery, suspicion, you know? Or intuition, you know, has this. I mean, what it does is, like, whenever we're, like, something is unknown to us, something that's unclear to us, like a mystery, we don't know. We feel like we have to solve it, but sometimes our intuition, or like the suspicion, we can have suspicions. Like, so anything that's unknown to us will lead us to become suspicious, right? But then if you're trusting your intuition, then you don't really need to be suspicious about anything, you know? Because your intuition is what's guiding you. If you know what I mean? Like, when suspicion is usually tied, could sometimes be tied to emotions, and sometimes we could suspect things, but it's more like because of our fears. Our fears can be like driving the suspicion, vigilance, hostility, jealousy, you know? But then it's like you're realizing, no, like some things are unknown to us, but then we already know what we need to do, right? But we don't need to connect it to emotions itself, right? Because when I think of suspicion, I just think of like not so much it being intellectual, but it's being more emotional. But more intellectual, emotional, but where it causes some sort of imbalance, where it starts to, like, fear starts to creep in. But then it's like, no, something doesn't feel right. You know, doesn't, like, I hope it's hard for me to explain this. I hope you understand it. Like, Shantae says it resonates, but, you know, you're letting your intuition be your clarity for you, because something that's a mystery is confusing to you. Sometimes anything that's confusing can incite certain emotions, uncertainty, insecurity, and that's where the suspicion starts to come in. It starts to set in. You know, I hope that makes sense. I feel like it's so hard for me to like verbalize because I understand what I mean. Because such a suspicion could be tied to fears. But mysteries is like, oh, something that's unknown to me. I don't know this. It's a mystery to me. But then this incites emotions. Like it says, hostility. It causes you to act out in a certain way. Even experience certain, like, envy, jealousy, anything like that. So I feel like that card is just explaining what I'm trying to say. So this is, I think some of you are learning how to master your emotions and also master your intuition. From my understanding, they say intuition doesn't incite an emotional response. It's a message, a sudden epiphany that provides you clarity but doesn't incite an emotion. It's like your mind, your higher self, is giving you a fact, you know, but it's not causing you to have an emotional response to it, you know? Some of you may have been in situations that you felt like I said, like some of you overcame something. Maybe you were in not in the healthiest environments. You may have been poisoned in some way to not really connect to your intuition. Could have had a lot of like garbage and external influence, even certain conditionings that kind of like muddied your intuition. But it's like you're starting to like clear that away, and you're finally reaching that point where you can start to see things clearly. Like maybe your mind or your perception was polluted by negative belief systems or negative emotions, even negative experiences. you know, but it's like now you're starting to wipe that mirror clean and you're starting to see things clearly, and your intuition in turn is also being cleared so that you can really trust yourself. I see the cool down card, calm, pause, solidification. Sometimes and this is like something I mentioned in the previous reading, that when you're in the middle of something that can cloud your judgment, because you may be feeling a lot of emotions or even getting a lot of conflicting thoughts, and it's causing like that, like the Seven of Cups, a lot of mental and emotional confusion. And you need to take time to calm down and pause, even withdraw, you know. And you see there's water here. Water we can use to purify. And it's funny, the pollution, you see, is dirty. So some of you are cleansing your energy, cleansing your aura. Like even healing, you know. Maybe you've undergone a lot of healing, where now you can start to see, things clearly, and even you're starting to be more optimistic. You know, wish, expect, desire. Because before you probably were more so focused on the negative, and that in turn affects your intuition. But I feel like some of you already figured out what the problem is, and you may have resolved it. And now you're starting to see things clearly, even starting to feel your intuition more clearly. Feeling more in tune to yourself. It's like you figured out how to solve this problem. You found the solution. And it's all inside of you. Like I said, key people, core of the problem. In the beginning, I was saying maybe some of you are the core of your own problems, you know? But it could be external too, because, you know, if you think about how we're conditioned, how we grow up, how we're raised, expectations, the standards, belief systems, religion, traditions, values, that's what's taught to us, and in turn it conditions us to be a certain way. And that conditioning can cloud our judgment and not allow us to see things clearly, but also it kind of pollutes our mindset, because it's like we're having a lot of interference, it's making me think of the card noisy sound, where there's like papers everywhere. It's a lot of distractions, but you can't see things clearly because you got so many things coming at you and distracting you from the truth, distracting you from the facts, and the facts being reality. What's real, you know? What isn't? What's the true problem? What is an illusion, you know? So this is, some of you are like, I want to say some of you are being like deprogrammed in a way, you know, like you're reconditioning yourself, but you're like deprogramming yourself. You're taking out all these different programs. And what I mean by that is like these ideas that have been instilled, belief systems, expectations, stuff like that, that have been instilled in us, that have clouded us and not allowed us to connect to our true selves and even connect to our intuition. I hope that makes sense. You know, whoever this resonates, do you understand what I'm talking about? So I feel like this is like some sort of thing, you pass some sort of test, and it's triggering some sort of level up with you. It could be within your personal life, with you being more trusting and trusting yourself with making the right decisions that you know will work for you, that will be the best for you, that is for your highest good, you know? And that's what's allowing it's allowing you to experience some sort of reward, you know, some sort of a level up. It could be a spiritual level up, it could actually be like 3D level up, you know, like with work, even your family, even the type of connections you have with friendship, partnerships, relationships, romantic relationships, even with your family, stuff like that. But it's like you're starting to see things clearly, starting to trust yourself more and trusting your intuition. I like this reading. Let me see if there's anything else I could add to it. I really don't think there's anything I could add to this. I don't think, like, that message, I feel like it's self-explanatory, you know? I mean, maybe I could. Let me see something. I could pull 3 cards for this. 3 tarot cards to see what comes out for this. Because we have intuition coming out. Crown. And then these together. I want to see what the tarot says. I'm just going to get 3 cards for this. I get 3 cards for this reading. 3 cards for the reading for the collective that resonates with this. What does the collective need to know at this time? What does the collective need to know that resonates with this reading? For whoever resonates with this reading, what message, clarification, confirmation do they need to know? It's funny because 4 of Swords, Knight of Pentacles. We have the Star card here. So that's like indicating healing. But 4 of Swords is healing too, because it comes after the 3 of Swords. Sadness, depression, grief, but then taking time to yourself, to rest, to heal, to reflect, contemplate your next move, contemplate. But this is, I mentioned, like, some of you are having to, it's like you're going to allow your inner compass. I remember I mentioned compass. So he has a map there, you know. So you're going to be trusting yourself with how you're going to be moving forward, with the types of decisions that you make, what you will reject, what will you accept moving forward. Because ultimately, you know, your stability is in your own hands, but also it's a matter of you trusting yourself to know that you play an important role in whatever you do moving forward, you know. And the 5 of Cups came out, so I don't know if this is tied to some sort of disappointment that could be within, because the 3 of Cups is usually like a friend group. It could be spending time with friends. It could be family celebrating, that type of thing. But there could have been something that turned sour, that didn't go well. But then it's like you have to, you may be reflecting on it, maybe, you know, and that could be where you're moving away from, where you're going to find peace, and then you're starting over. You may be starting something new. You may be trusting your intuition and seeing that there is some sort of toxicity around you that you need to move away from, even if it's disappointing, you know? Yeah, so some of you may be reflecting on some sort of past disappointment, which is important for you to do. Maybe you're seeing where you did wrong, or maybe, you know, you're seeing where you may have not trusted your intuition in the past, especially if you saw something that gave you an indication that something wasn't going to go well. You know, you probably went forward. This is for whoever this message resonates to. This is a collective. This is for the collective. For whoever it resonates with. Some of you may not have listened to your intuition, and then you're now seeing the results of that, but now you're knowing what to do moving forward. So you may have seen or seen something and you may have brushed it away, may not have, but you moved forward anyway, and it ultimately ended up with disappointment. And you're like, there may be, that could be what the test is. That could be the test that may be coming up that you need to pass. So there may be like something you peeped before that you didn't take action on, but then you ended up in the Five of Swords. I mean, the Five of Cups, disappointed. So there may be an opportunity coming back around in a test, and it's going to see, are you going to make the same decision? Are you going to ignore your intuition, or are you going to listen? If you see something similar, you get a sense that something isn't right. Are you going to ignore it like you have in the past? Or are you going to listen to your intuition and avoid any disappointment, unnecessary disappointment? Because this is what I'm getting, that some of you were moving forward towards something, maybe, I want to say oblivious in some way, but you may have dismissed some sort of nudge that you got that something wasn't going to go well, but you moved forward anyway. You ignored your intuition and it ended up with disappointment. So that's what I'm getting. So that could be the test, or that could be the test that you already passed, or the test that you're going to need to pass, you know? So the mirror could be you reflecting on past situations, the past where you've ignored your intuition, you know, realizing that the problem isn't anybody around you. The problem is you not trusting yourself. You not trusting your intuition. And it's important for you to trust your intuition. You know, remove anything that can be blocking your intuition, any toxicity, peeping toxicity, you know, seeing things clearly, you know, brushing away any distraction, debris, or anything that's not allowing you to see things clearly, so that you can make a informed decision, but the decision is coming from inside. So that could be some sort of healing that you need to do, you know, with the Star card. You know, this is definitely a time to be on your own, you know, to take time to yourself, reconnect to yourself. That's the most important thing to do. Maybe even block out certain energies that can be distracting, that you know are distracting or disruptive to you, and you making the right choice moving forward. A choice that's guided by your intuition, you know? Not what you think is going to go well, but what you already know is going to go well because of your intuition. You know, who you can trust, who you should not trust, who you should, you know, guard yourself against, protect yourself from any situations that, you know, don't feel right, in the sense that your intuition is like, yeah, you know, I feel like going this way. You're like, and then something says, go this way instead. And you're like, just follow that voice, that inner voice. It's not schizophrenia. It's like your higher self telling you, like, let's go a different path. This is about you choosing a different path. You know, maybe in the past, like I said, you ignored your intuition and you got so used to it because you couldn't discern what was your intuition or even anxiety. You couldn't distinguish it or discern what was, you know, what your intuition was. But this is about you trusting yourself. I saw a little fly. Okay. So I hope that reading resonates with someone. So that's the test that you need to look out for. You know, trust your intuition. There's gonna be something that's something that's gonna be like a voice, something that's gonna let you know that what to do. It's gonna let you know what to do. And if you listen to that, however your intuition speaks to you, for me, it's like epiphanies. Not tied to emotion, not tied to disappointment, not tied to happiness, not tied to fear, not tied to sadness, nothing. There's no emotion tied to your intuition. It's like, it is what it is. Just as like the color of the wall is the color it is, that's how your intuition is. You're not emotionally invested in the outcome because it is what it is. You know, I hope that if you know what you know, if you know, you know. Okay, so let me put these cards away. All right. I saw Sunali had a question. Okay, so let me... I'm not using these cards for the yes or no. I just like to shuffle them clear. Okay, hi Razia, how are you? I hope you're doing well too. Hi Carolyn, how are you? Yeah, that was a collective read. That was a read for the collective. It was a revealing the truth reading. Okay, so yes or no questions. Remember, yes is upright. I just talked about intuition. I'm not answering that question, Razia. I just talked about intuition. You gotta trust your intuition. I just talked about intuition right now. Okay, so all right, so let me answer Sonali's question. Sonali, thank you for being patient. Okay, will Roy marry Sonali? That card just flew out. Sonali, you got a yes. Yeah, you have Sonali, you have a yes. You got 2 yeses, so yes. It's saying that you and Roy will get married. Yeah, the Sun card. That's like that's a happy card. That's a happy card. With the King of Pentacles. Somebody could be an earth sign or just someone who's very stable, secure, maybe has money, is in a good place. So Sonali, your answer is yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I had to take a break, Carolyn, because I'm gonna be honest, some people kept asking about the same thing, the same people, and I was like, I'm already done. I'm over that person. You need to get over that person too. That's me. I'm like, I need to like connect with tarot readers and so that I can know how to deal with that, because when they keep asking about the same person, oh my geez. I'm like, just talk to the person. Okay. All right, Razia. Okay. Okay, I wasn't ready for that. Razia. Will Razia meet anyone this year? Will Razia meet someone new this year? Oh my God, Razia. It came out, the Ace of Cups came out in the reverse. But the Ace of Cups is the new love, right, card. I don't think it's you. I think you are going to meet somebody, but it's not going to be somebody new. I think it might be somebody returning. It may be somebody that either blocked you or you blocked them. This is what I'm getting, Razia. Yeah. So you're going to meet somebody, but I don't think it's going to be a new person. It's saying no. Because I don't know, when you say meet somebody, that implies you're meeting somebody new. I don't think it's new. I think it's somebody you know. And it could be somebody who's guarded, or you may be guarded with this person, or it could be somebody you blocked, or that blocked you. Take it as it resonates, Razia. You will know what that means for you, Razia. I hope that helps you. Okay, let's see for Carolyn. Carolyn. Okay. Is an old connection on its way back to Carolyn? Is an old connection on its way back to Carolyn? Is an old connection on its way back to Carolyn? Whoops. Yeah, this thing just keeps moving. Stay still. Stay still. Is an old connection on its way back to Carolyn? Is an old connection on its way back to... That card just did a somersault and flipped and everything. It's like yes. It's saying a yes. And you have a King of Wands. I don't know if this person is a fire sign energy or you. I don't remember your sign, Carolyn. I don't know if you're a fire sign energy, but it's saying yes. But King of Wands is like somebody that wants to reignite a spark, you know? Someone that there was a lot of attraction, maybe a lot of, you know, good times, if you know what I mean. Yeah. You got 2 yeses. Yeah. I don't know if there's some sort of change. You got 2 yeses. Yeah. The King of Wands is, they say, kings are the fixed signs of zodiac, and Leo is the King of Wands. So I feel like it's yes. Somebody, I don't know if you're there's some sort of glow up that you've undergone or some sort of change, but this person, you know, maybe you're feeling more independent, more confident in yourself, maybe a lot more secure or stable, which is the King of Wands energy too. Someone who's very confident. And so you got 2 yeses, Carolyn. I mean, it could be an earth sign too. It could be an earth sign that may return. 9 of Pentacles is an earthy energy, you know. But that could just be you, how you're feeling. But you got 2 yeses with both cards being in the upright. I hope that helps, Carolyn. I don't know. I'm thinking about the number 9. Number 9. I don't know what number 9. Well, there are 9 people here, but the 9 of Cups. No, Pentacles. 9 of Pentacles. You know, it's funny because I think, let me see something. Oh, shit. You said Cancer, right? Wait, let me see something. Cancer is a cardinal sign. Let me see. Because I think Capricorn is a cardinal sign. Capricorn is the opposite of Cancer. Yeah. Capricorn is so I feel like it could be somebody. You say it's a Cancer though? It might be, I don't know, you will know this more than I do. It could be somebody that was like very career oriented. They may have been like all about their money. Or this is someone that you probably thought, hopefully you didn't think they were the devil or something, because the Capricorn is the devil card or something. That's just a side message. It may not resonate with you. I had to share it though, because Cancer is the opposite sign of Capricorn. Okay, does anybody else have a yes or no question? I'm gonna put that up right since I saw it. Does anybody else? Oh, you're welcome, Carolyn. Career-oriented person. Goal-oriented person. Okay, does anybody else have a yes or no question? Let's see. Does anybody else have a yes or no question? Okay, so I don't see any more questions. And I answered the ones that were there, except the ones that I didn't feel comfortable answering. Let's see. Oh, no. Cards wanted to fall. All right, so I'm going to be ending the live stream here. So I thank you all so much for allowing me to read for you and being patient with me, especially if I refuse to answer your question. I hope all of you have a wonderful evening ahead. I thank you so much for joining the live stream, giving this live stream a thumbs up. I hope to see you next time. I'm not sure if I'll be coming on again tomorrow because it is Wednesday and I'm not sure, but let's we'll see. I'm not making any promises. So I hope everyone has a great evening ahead, a great day ahead, because I know there are people ahead of us time-wise, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you again for showing up. Bye, everyone. Bye, Carolyn.